Okay, it's recording. I'm so excited. I know you guys are too to have Meg. Before we dive in, I do want to start to let you guys know tomorrow at noon Pacific time, 1 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern, the Team Beachbody Coach 411 page has like the live coach opportunity again. I put the event up in Ignite Your Life, so if you want to grab that, you can invite, let your teams know so that they can invite as well. It's a great way if you have new coaches for them to go and just invite people to join and listen and learn more. If it were me and I were a new coach, I would reach out and just be like, hey, there's this live thing from our company. You get to learn about how we get fit and we earn income, like extra income from home. And if you see what I see, then you can join and do this with me too. So it's really an incredible opportunity. Check that out. That's tomorrow, Tuesday at noon Pacific time. And then Thursday, there is a Rockstar Recruiter training from Josh Coates, and that's 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 Mountain, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern time. And again, I put the events in Ignite Your Life, so you guys can check that out. We will still have our Q&A on Wednesday, our normal Q&A and our normal team training on Wednesday. I just don't have the event details up yet for the training on Wednesday, but I will. I'll get those up in our team page. So lots of exciting things happening this week that are a little bit extra, and just want to make sure you guys know about that and your teams know about that. For those of you that have hit Diamond already, congratulations. I know Stacy reached Diamond. We've had a few of you that got back to Diamond. And some of you, Allison is pushing for Star Diamond. Gail's just a couple away from 4-star qualifying. So lots of momentum in April. Starting on May 18th, we're going to be doing another 10-day Emerald push. And I know some of you missed out on that last time. So you can invite your teams to do this 10-day Emerald push. And we had lots, I don't even know. I had 3 personally sponsored coaches advance to Emerald during our 10-day Emerald push that just finished. And I didn't even know that they were paying attention. So definitely make sure that you take advantage of that. Again, that'll be starting on May 18th and it's 10 days long. So lots of cool things coming up in May. But our guest speaker today is Meg, and she is one of my favorites. I shared her income progression in the team page the other day, and I love, she actually started out as Janelle Summers' assistant, right, Meg? Mm-hmm. So she was an assistant and then decided to dive in and build this business, and I'll let her share her story with you. But she's a superstar diamond coach. That's the top rank in the company. Most of you all know that already. 8-time elite. And she was a top 10 coach in 2013. She's a mom of 2. Oh, her daughter's 4. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
4 already? Oh,
yeah.
And then her son is 11 months old. So she's built this business through giving birth and having 2 kids and learning the transition from that. And she's still maintained elite. So I think she's such a great person to learn from. But she also is just the biggest sweetheart. You guys are going to love her. So I'm going to throw it over to her and let her share with you guys today.
Oh, I feel the same way about you. And it's so crazy because, we stand next to each other at Summit, right? And then Brayden was like 5 weeks old, I think, at that time. Like, why did I bring him to Summit? That was kind of crazy. But the last like 10 months have flown by. He's almost a year, you guys. I'm like, planning his first birthday in quarantine. That's going to be real fun. But guys, we got to roll with what's going on. So thank you for asking me to speak. I know I shared my income progression in the Superstar Diamond group because, guys, I was honestly like kind of floored because things change in this business, right? And Chrissy and I have been around long enough that we've seen a lot of evolution and a lot of things that have just kind of gone crazy and things that have gotten better and so forth. And with bod groups, like we're seeing another transition. And I just want to tell you guys, if you're stressing out over bod groups, take a deep breath, because we've seen enough things happen in this business where it's like at the beginning, like when they first bring it out, it's a little shaky and you got to figure it out. And then it's like smooth sailing. Okay. So I'll be honest, like I didn't really even dive into bod groups until today. And now I'm like, wait, what's going on? Like, what is this? So just take a deep breath and know it'll work out. Okay. So I'm going to talk about Diamond, you guys. And I know I heard some of you guys are going Diamond and 1-star and 2-star, and there's so much momentum in this network right now. And I got to tell you, a lot of the Superstar Diamonds and me, we've been saying, like, this is how it was back in the day, because this is truthful, you guys. Back in the day, that was the momentum that was going on in this company. And it was hard not to get caught up in the shuffle, right? You're comparing yourself, you're looking around, like Christy shared. Like, I started out as Janelle Summers, which we all know Janelle Summers, as her assistant. I was 22 years old. I had about 30 pounds to lose. I went to school for nutrition. And I was battling a lot of eating disorder type tendencies, trying to figure out how to take care of my body the right way. Started doing Turbo Jam. My amazing older sister, Corinne, was like, hey, Meg, Janelle Summers basically lives down the street from us, and she's looking for an assistant. So I found Janelle on Facebook and said, hey, I heard you're looking for an assistant. And she, interviewed me, and we hit it off right off the bat. And her and I are really close friends still to this day. Love Janelle, adore her. If you watch her, you know she's just a genuinely great person. So I lucked out in that category. But I told Janelle up front, I am not going to work this business. On paper, you guys, and you might see this with some of your coaches, on paper, I would have been a perfect coach. I was on my own health and fitness journey. I was in love with Turbo Jam. I remember this loser boy broke up with me, and the first thing I did was went and did Turbo Jam. I was like, don't talk to me. I'm going to do Turbo Jam, right? I'm going to do this. I was being proof the products work. I was seeing the results. I fell in love with Shakeology. I signed up just for the discount. Had my degree in nutrition, right? Was going for my master's in public health nutrition. Had a crappy, my assistant job was nice, but my full-time job paid nothing. It was like $20,000 a year. On paper, I would have been a perfect coach. But because this wasn't matching what was on the paper, I didn't do anything with my business for 2 years, you guys. 2 years because of what was going on in my head. So when we have these coaches come in, and I think this is where we miss the boat big time, and maybe you're here too. We come in and we throw all this information out there at them, right? Like, you should want to grow this business, and you should do this, and this is why you'd be great at it. But we don't spend enough time diving into what's going on up here, because when it comes down to growing this business, your mindset will make or break you. Okay, your mindset will make or break you. So like I said, I sat on it for 2 years, and I watched all of these coaches come into Janelle's team, and this is before we had Super Saturday, and we had all these push groups and all that kind of stuff, right? So I saw these coaches come in. Maybe some of you guys know the name Mindy Wonder. I don't even remember her maiden name at that time because she wasn't married yet, but she came in. She had signed up about a week after me. She came in, I came in as a discount coach. She came in, she took this business and ran with it. And I remember I was working a weekend shift at my full-time job. I worked at a local YMCA, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw her put some kind of post up that said she had, paid off debt and, was quitting her full-time job to be home with her kid and was planning her dream wedding and all this stuff. And I was like, hopefully there's no kids. I was like, WTF, what is going on? This girl in the UP of Michigan up here, love Mindy, one of my closest friends, coach friends. But I was like, what does she have that I don't have? What is she doing that I'm not doing? I wasn't doing anything, and she was doing everything. Okay. When it came down to it, she was doing the action. In my head, I was doing the action because I was doing the workouts. I was sticking to the nutrition. I was drinking Shakeology. I was talking about it on Facebook, right? We didn't have Instagram, I don't think, back then. And I look back at my post because it's funny when the time hop pops up. I was not building this business. It was the worst type of post that you could ever do because I was scared to break down those walls, you guys. I was stuck in that comparison trap. And that's the first thing that I want to share with you guys is that I finally let go of that comparison of what a top coach looked like. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be my top coach, right? There is no perfect cookie cutter. And that's a beautiful thing about Beachbody. You might think when you look at the top coaches that they all have blonde hair and it's long and they're super fit, right? If you look at the top 10, you're like, except for Melissa for this year, they all have blonde hair. And beautiful women, right? You might think that's what a top coach looks like. But what you don't know behind the scenes are all these other coaches that have different types of body shapes and sizes and different motivation. And they might not just want to be in the top 10, but they're succeeding in this business and they're growing this business and they're sharing and helping people, right? So there is no cookie cutter top coach, okay? So I finally allowed myself to start dreaming of what this business could do for me and for my future family. At that time I was only 24, so I didn't have children quite yet. And I let myself say, okay, this business can be that vehicle to give me the life that I want, right? So I put my head down and I said, after that first weekend shift, I remember I was like, it was before I even met my husband. I was like, okay, this is it. Janelle has this diamond. She had a diamond event, luckily. And I said, I'm going to be at that diamond event. I'm going to be at that diamond event. And I looked at the people who I had helped here and there. We didn't have challenge packs at the time. Okay. Can you guys imagine a life without challenge packs? Like, think of what we went through. Do you remember? That was so hard. Like,
do you remember when it came out?
Yes. It came out at the end of 2011, right?
Was it, or was it 2012?
I think it was the end of 2011, because it was like when my business really took off was when challenge packs came. Because I was like, I've been selling you guys the DVDs and Shakeology separately. Now you can get it together. I'm pretty sure it was the end of 2011. But it was crazy, you guys, because all these people were investing in the products, but I had been too scared to invite them. So maybe there are some clients that you've been scared to invite, right? Or maybe there's some clients that you've invited several times. Keep inviting them, obviously genuinely. And why? Always share why you see that they would be a good customer, right? I have someone who just signed up who's been a customer of mine for like 3 years, loyal customer, and it just wasn't the right time, and now it is, okay? So go back to those loyal customers and bring it up again. Maybe invite them to that Team Beachbody 411 thing. Reach out to those inactive coaches that are maybe unengaged from the coaching opportunity, and bring it back up about how they can get re-involved on their own health and fitness journey. Okay, so that's what I did. I reached out to those current customers. I had a few, because like I said, I was building it, but not really building it. I also went downstairs, because I was still living with my parents, and invited my parents. I was like, hey, remember how I had you guys sign up back in 2010 to be discount coaches? You were my emerald. Well, now I'm going to take this seriously. And who do you know, mom and dad, that we could, get invested in this? And we reached out to my sisters. I was even scared to talk to my sisters, guys. And, my first diamond was built of majority clients that I had been working with. Okay. So people who I didn't know face to face. I know a lot of people do warm market people. I had my mom and my dad, and my sister said no to me. They're like, no, Meg, we are not doing that. So if you have family members that fight you, it's okay, you guys, they'll come around. You just keep building. But my parents, they worked with me to get to Emerald, or they got Emerald, and then we were able to bring in clients, and we went diamond. And guess what? That diamond was very shaky. I can't tell you how many times I dropped and got it back, and dropped and then got it back. But here's the key, you guys. Hitting that goal to go diamond built that confidence in myself. I knew my income wasn't going to increase by going diamond. I knew that the end all be all wasn't diamond, because my coach had instilled in me 2-star is where it really happens. Okay, so if you're an emerald coach and you haven't gotten to diamond, you don't, and I love you guys. I'm so bad at people like what's it called? Tough love. I'm working on it. But diamond, until you get to diamond, you don't have a business. Okay, until you get to diamond, you do not have a business. It is a hobby until you get to diamond, okay? Then when you get to 2-star, then you actually become a business owner, okay? So it's a business at diamond. Business owner happens at 2-star. When you can duplicate yourself, I can't believe Beachbody even lets you do that. Duplicate yourself and build income through a second business center, okay? That is why more people do not race towards that goal. It blows my mind. Because if you guys look at my income progression, it was I did not go 2-star until I think it was March of 2012. Okay. And that's when my income just went, and then it just started going crazy. Okay. So 2-star is crazy. Go for it. Okay. So like I said, I put my head down, you guys. I allowed myself to dream. I stopped looking at what other coaches are doing. How many times you grab your phone and you start looking at what Lindsay Matway or Christy or Trina Gray or Janelle Summers or whoever the coaches that you love to follow, Melanie Mitchell, and see what they're doing. Don't do that, you guys. If you're in a push right now, you should set boundaries about Holly Hillier or anyone not able to watch their stuff. Because what happens when we start watching what other coaches are doing, number one, we start defeating ourselves because we keep thinking of all of the things that they have that we do not have. Okay. Number two, we start acting like them, right? You're like, oh, that was a good idea. I'm going to do a post like that. And then you lose your authenticity. People respect realness and authenticity, and they don't want to see someone else. They want to see you. They want to connect with you, okay? So stop watching the other coaches on social media and just focus on don't do the do's and don'ts of social media. Like, don't do this on Instagram or have to have a perfect picture. If you guys go to my Instagram, and I've been semi-working on it, but you're going to see a lot of baby pictures because that's my life. And some people would say, don't post a ton about your kids. Guess what? My kids are all over my social media, okay? Because they're my life. And you can go through, and I probably have spelling errors and autocorrects because I'm talking into my phone while I'm nursing my baby. Like, that's my life. And people respond to that. They get that, okay? So make sure that you're being true to who you are. Stop the comparison, you guys. Number 2, you guys, is that I grabbed onto that goal and I saw that it was a benchmark towards that bigger dream of mine, of wanting to be a full-time coach, of wanting to pay off debt, of wanting to, in the future when I had children, be able to be a present mom, in the future of not having to work on the weekends. Because when you're in the trenches, you guys, and you're building this business, you have to sacrifice stuff. And I sacrificed weekends. I did. I sacrificed weekends to sit down and get my ish done. Not my entire weekends, because this business doesn't take 24 hours a day to build. It does not, if you're smart with your time. But I did sacrifice a couple hours. And now I can take the entire weekend off and be with my family, and it's freaking awesome, okay? So you have to build towards that bigger dream right now, okay? So I saw that goal of Diamond as one of those benchmarks, one of those stepping stones to get me closer to that bigger goal, okay? And you have to track, you guys. I've had my coaches, and I'm sure Christy does this with you guys, I had them track. And we have these accountability groups that I have my leaders doing because they're like, yeah, I track. I'm like, oh, do you? Okay, let's see. So in my groups, I've instilled, if it's a push group, they have to turn in their tracker every Thursday, you guys. And if they don't, bye. Like, you're out of the group. I love you to death. But here's the thing. If this is a serious goal for you and you're making it a big deal, right? You're laser focused, this is it, and your coach says turn this in, you better believe you're going to turn it in, right? Because that's a priority in your life. But if you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to put my tracker in there, it's not a serious goal. It's not a serious goal. Last year when I was going through some tough stuff after I had Brayden, I hopped into like a Push to Diamond group with Janelle after being a Superstar Diamond coach. I was like, I just need that accountability. And you know what? She had you post your tracker. You better believe I had a timer set on my phone to turn that tracker in because I was not going to let Janelle down, and I didn't want to be that person that didn't turn it in, right? So track, guys. Track. Weekly model. Even the diamond model that Beachbody has. I'm sure there's all these pretty graphics that people have made on Canva. I just used the old Beachbody one, and I print it out every single month, even to this day, and it's my goal to go diamond again every single month, okay? Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, okay? There's months where I recruit one person, you guys, and there's other, not because I'm not working, but because maybe things have happened, right? Other times I recruit more than that. But it really depends on the tracking and how much action you're doing. And I can go back on those months where maybe I didn't recruit as much as I wanted to and see exactly where I messed up from that tracking, okay? So I track using, I'm going to do a little shout out for my one of my coaches. She has a tracker planner, if you guys haven't seen it, and you can just put the business activity trackers in it. It's beautiful, which I can send. I think it's now pink and black. She changed it. We can send it to you, Christy. It's everything you need right there. So I track every single day, and then I do my diamond model every single week, and I update it depending on how many coaches I've signed up, or how many coaches I've helped hit emerald, or whatever. Like how Christy said, I had 3 emeralds come. I didn't even know that they were on my radar. That's what I do. I say, okay, who can I work with? It forces me to put their names down, right? And who can I help to get to emeralds, right? Every single month. So I have my head down, focused on the right actions, okay? So make sure that you guys are tracking every single week, every single month. You guys are on here because you're pushing towards goals. And if you're just going to let it go by the wayside and just say, if it happens, it happens, it's not a serious goal. But if you're tracking, it feels really good to see that change, right? Like, you don't want to see yourself go backwards. You want to see yourself continue to go forward. The other thing, you guys, tip number 3 is focus on getting to diamond with your heart versus your head, okay? And versus that flashy goal. this is where I think sometimes people go wrong, and I've gone wrong with it going towards goals too. So this is you. It's okay. It's okay. But you have to focus on how can I help people. I know we've seen things about the FTC going around with MLMs getting in trouble for using coronavirus and bringing people into the business. And I know we all can be like, why not is everyone doing like a multi-level marketing business right now? Like you can build income from home. It's like we want to say that stuff. But when we say it that way, it's leading with your head and what's in it for me type mentality versus your heart. How can I find people that truly could benefit from this right now? Okay, who are those people in your life? You know, I see my sisters who right now, they can't work, right? My one owns a window business in Wisconsin, and her husband cannot go out and put windows in people's houses right now. People don't want people in their houses, right? So they're focused on their business right now because they are Beachbody coaches now. So they're building it. How can I help them, right? How can I help them as their leader do that? Who could benefit from Shakeology right now, right? Like who in your life could benefit from Shakeology? Who in your life could benefit from the virtual communities? Who in your life could benefit from making a little bit of extra income? And you're not going to go at them like, oh my God, why are you not doing this? But hey, how can I help you? Or hey, I've heard some people say this. If you sign up, you're going to help me hit diamond and 1 star and 2 star and 3 star. And you guys don't do that, right? Instead saying, hey, how can I help you? Because when we focus our goals on other people and helping them hit their goals, it naturally helps you hit your goals. And it feels a lot better that way, you guys. When I had that head switch happen, because diamond was very me focused, I was like, help me, help me, help me. When I switched it and I said, how can I help you? That's when like 2 star, 5 star, 10 star started coming along, okay? And then the last tip, you guys, and you guys can ask me questions after this if you want, is inviting is like dating, okay? And I know that sounds really weird, but it's true, you guys. Inviting is like dating, okay? You can be picky. I know we're like, how can we rank advance and get all these people? Be picky, okay? Learn from me. You don't want everyone on your team, okay? Some people are thorns in your sides, and you want to trust your gut, okay? So it has to be a two-way street. If you're having a conversation with someone and you feel like you're pulling their teeth, but they really want to sign up, maybe that's not someone who you want on your team, right? Because eventually they're going to fizzle out. And that's not going to feel good. You're going to get more cancellations. Those are not fun. Okay? So feel these people out. Make sure that the feeling is reciprocated. I know I went on dates before where it was a one-sided thing, right? Like either he was trying too hard or I was trying too hard. We've all been there, right? And you're like, it's just not comfortable, right? You want it to be a two-way street. So what's my approach for inviting? Christy was asking me this. And everyone is different, you guys. Everyone is different. I'm focused on quality versus quantity, okay? And I know a lot of coaches focus on, you know, the percentage of how many people you talk to is how many yeses you're going to get. True. That's always going to be true, right? But I like to focus on the quality relationship versus the quantity relationship, okay? So I like to do the one-on-one messages on social media, like everyone, right? But I'm looking for people who have been liking and commenting on my stuff, who have been voting on not just my invites to coaching or challenge group polls, because you're going to get very small amounts of that. But on my mommy polls, my mommy struggle polls, wanting a pool in your backyard polls, people who maybe are not very organized but are trying to get organized polls, things like that, you guys. I'm looking for those people who have connections and similarities with me. Okay, so think of the things that make up who you are. Okay, and think of the things that are like your weird quirks. Make a whole long list, you guys. Turn those into polls on your Instagram stories so that when you go through and you do these and you're talking about them because they're part of who you are, you can slap that Instagram poll up and you're going to be able to weed through and find people who seem like you. So when I'm trying to think of a similar one that I just did. I did one about nursing, okay? So my son's 11 months, and we're getting to the point where we're starting to think about not nursing anymore. Is there any other moms on here? And it just makes me want to cry. Like, it makes me want to cry. I don't want to stop nursing. And I know there's some women who are like, kid, I'm done. Like, done, right? And then others that are like, I want to hold on to it forever. I'm one of those. So I did a poll like that. And I was able to go back through and look at who voted on it. And it's not 100 people. I don't have a ton of people watching my stories, but it did give me some quality people that I was able to go back through and say, okay, let me find the people who are like me. Now I don't just go right in for the kill and say, oh my God, you nurse too? You want to be a beach body coach? Like, that's weird, right? Think of how you would respond, you guys. Be a real human being. So I started following that person. I add them into my collections, very similar to what Micah Folsom shared on the National Wake Up Call. So I add them into my now May collections on Instagram stories. And I'm going to start building that relationship with that person who's watching my Instagram stories, who also nurses, right? And I'm going to start liking and commenting and watching their stories. And I'm not going to say a week. I'm not going to say 2 weeks. I'm not going to say 4 weeks. It depends on the person, you guys. Okay. Like, I can't say like after a week of liking and commenting on their stuff, I invite them, like very like robot. That's not how things in this business go. Right. But I'm going to look at if they're still watching my stories, if they're liking and commenting on my stuff. And then I'm going to approach them and say, you know, probably if you want a number, like 3 or 4 weeks after we've started this relationship. Okay. Because it's dating. It's like asking someone to be your girlfriend or boyfriend, right? Like, we've started to go back and forth a couple times. It's not so weird anymore. We know who we are. And then I invite them. Okay. And I say, you know, hey, I noticed that we have a lot in common and I've really appreciated getting to know you. I have a couple spots open for my next virtual group. I only let 10 people in and I wanted to see if you'd be interested in joining. Okay. And I rarely have someone come back like, ew. I can't, actually, I don't know if I ever have. Like, ew, why would you invite me? I do get no's. People who are like, you know what, I'm good. I have a good plan. Thank you for inviting me. It's not the right time. Guess what? A lot of those people continue to watch my stories because I didn't freak them out, right? So I know eventually when the time is right, they will come back around, okay? So it's all about the approach, you guys. I didn't like having that ewy feeling of sending out those messages and then looking at it and being like, oh my God, they responded back nasty. Or they said, I was just trying to sell them or whatever. This is a way to stop it. It's quality versus quantity, okay? The other thing, you guys, is that with my invites, I'm very focused on creating FOMO through email as well as through my Instagram stories. So I focus on, I start my groups on the second Monday of every month. So the last week of the previous month, so the last week of April and then the first week of May, I'm focused on inviting. Okay, and they have to get signed up by May 5th, so tomorrow. And I am heavy on the invites on my Instagram stories as well as through my email. I do a lot of email campaigns. And I am sending an email every couple days saying 9 spots are filled. 9 spots are left, 7 spots are left, 4 spots are left, 3 spots are left, to create that FOMO and reminding them this is what you get for this, okay? I'm also doing Instagram stories almost every single day, doing some kind of invite. You guys can go to my Instagram stories right now. I just did a postpartum one where I went back and like looked at like where I was 11 months ago and where I am now and grabbing like archives of stuff and, you know, sharing those, which it made me tear up again because I'm like, Brain was so little. But it's really, that's eye-opening for people to say, okay, she's still doing it 11 months later and she's still showing up. That's the kind of coach that I want. Someone who has continued to show up. Don't let go of the fact that you show up every single day, you guys. Every single day. Shine light on that. People want to see that, okay? I believe that's Danielle Latoni's thing is that she always says, like, her superpower is consistency, that she continues to show up every single day, and people want that, okay? So creating FOMO through my Instagram stories as well as through email. The other way that I do Instagram story FOMO is that I'm updating that list at the same time as my email as well as on my stories. You know, we've all seen it, the list of 10, and I'm putting names in. Now, if you're someone who says, I don't get a lot of people right off the bat, but I would love to start this idea, grab customers from last month. Okay, so we all have customers who last month are like, okay, I want in the May group, right? And I let them in. I'm going to put your name on that poll. Not the poll, the list, right? I'm going to put Jessica and Sarah and Amy, even though they're April customers, they're going to go on my May calendar or my May lineup, and I'm going to say 6 spots left. Right? Because that creates FOMO, you guys. People don't have to know that these are April customers coming into May. but it creates that, oh no, I really need to get in this right now. Okay. So FOMO is huge. Quality, you guys. FOMO, reminding yourself that your journey does not have to look like any other coaches, and staying true to who you are in your heart. Okay. Because if something feels icky, it's going to be icky. If something feels good and you get excited about it, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so much fun. More people are going to want to join you. Okay. So I think that's it, Christy. I'm sorry, I kind of went over, like trying not to talk so much, but.
No, this was all great stuff. And I know, I love that you said about the FOMO. I think that's something sometimes we forget about.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Gail does it, and she does a really good job with that too. And she adds her coaches on our team too that are joining.
Uh-huh.
You know, some of our discount coaches that are joining too. So she has the list filled up. So yeah, so many golden nuggets. It was awesome. Do you guys have any questions for Meg?
Yeah, I love anytime you can create FOMO, you guys, because I'm that person. I'm like, I don't want to be left out, right? And if people see other people are doing it and they're like on the fence, they're like, okay, I'm going to give this a go if other people are doing it too. Yes, totally social proof. Any questions, you guys?
No questions? You guys, if you get off and message me, that's what always happens. Hey, do you know the answer?
That's so funny. I feel like it's always awkward at that when you're like, do you have any questions? And people are all like,
Sweet, I'm thinking. I just want your little tracker thing. I love that. And I am.
Oh, you guys, and she's the biggest sweetheart. Like, she won't say it, but I'm going to say it. The people who popped on our team this year, like we've had like a couple diamonds, a couple star diamonds, they're all using this planner. Because it's not that it's magic, because there is no magic, the work has to go in, but it's all in one spot, right? Like how many of us have like a weekly calendar and like our social media calendar, everything's right here, your groups, the clients you should check into, like it's all right here. It's amazing.
I love that. And I don't know if you guys picked up on if you do have bigger goals of getting to 10-star or superstar, like superstar, diamond, well, both of those 15 or 10-star and 15-star, the quarterly bonuses are way more than any boss ever paid me in a year. Mm-hmm. So if that is your goal, if income is your goal, those ranks are great ranks to push for. That's going to grow your income really quickly if that's your goal. And when you think about it, to get to 10-star or 15-star or 2-star or 5-star, it's you helping you get to diamond so that you know what that takes. I would do all the work you possibly can to get there as quickly as possible. And the reason is because those people on your team will believe what you did is possible. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, if you take 5 years to get to diamond, your team gets started, they think it takes 5 years to get to diamond. It's going to take a lot longer to get there. But with all of those, like with 5-star, it's 5 people. It's helping 5 people create that diamond business. 10-star, 10 people. 15-star, 15 people. And both Meg and I, our goal is to build a new diamond every month. And I love that you said that, because I never actually say that out loud, but it is like that is my goal, to build a new diamond every month. It might not be in one business center, but it's the action of, you know, minimum of 8 new coaches and 2 new emeralds in the downline. So I love that.
Oh, that's awesome that you're doing that too. Yeah. And you can probably say there's some months where you're like, oh, I don't think we had 5 new coaches, right? And you can go back at your action and be like, okay, maybe I need to try something new. So yeah.
Yeah. And right now, emeralds are popping. I'm loving it. I want people to see the success in their business.
Can I ask?
Oh, yeah, Lauren, you have a question?
Meg, what would you say was like your big shift from dropping like in and out of diamond for years, but then like business forward?
So it took me a long time to realize this until I recently have been going through Bob Heilig's training. I don't know if you guys follow him, but he's amazing. But he has this next level leadership that I've been doing. And I like went back to my mindset. It was all me feeling like a failure, right? Like every time I dropped, I would be like, I suck. I'm a horrible leader, right? And then I wouldn't invite, right? And then I would be stuck for a while because I'd be like, why would I bring more people on if I keep like no one's succeeding, right? And something that Bob said to me that I'm like, this is so good, is he said, if you're taking on when people fail, why are you not taking on when people succeed, right? So those coaches who you do help get Emerald, those people that you do help stay active and see results, like why are you not taking their success? Because they did the work, right? So the people who fail, it's all on them too, right? So once you free yourself of that, Lauren, and say it doesn't have to do with me, it has to do with them. I'm just their mentor. My job is not to make you successful. My job is to show you what I've done to be successful and to continue on, right? So that was the first thing, is I had to let go of that guilt. The second thing is I had to realize and get really real with myself on what I was doing with my action. Because if I was dropping in and out, what was happening is I would hustle, and I would slow down. I'd be like, okay, I brought on some new coaches. I'm going to start focusing on like creating new challenge group templates and, you know, making sure my graphics are pretty and stuff like that. And then I'd be like, oh my gosh, I haven't invited someone in 3 weeks, right? And then I'd have to hustle. And it's creating this really like, it was like you're driving a stick shift, right? Start, stop. So I had to get real with myself and say, Megan, you have to be consistent with those actions every single day. And you have to invite this, you know, every single day. And you have to follow up every single day. And you have to continue to show up every single day. And Lauren, once I started doing that, it was like the momentum train came, right? And Christy, who's probably talked to you guys about this, where it was like, I just couldn't fall. It's like eating healthy and working out every single day. I have to show up every single day and do those things in order to get the results. So once I got into that flow, like even, this is horrible, like 6 weeks postpartum, actually 3 days postpartum, I was like, all right, I'm back to work. And you don't have to do that. It was just my personality where I'm like, okay, I created this consistency. I'm back to work. So getting very real with yourself. I just had typed 3 questions and you're answering. Oh, perfect. That works. So what does the action look like on this for you? Get to diamond with your heart, not your head. What does this action look like? I'm not sure I quite understand the question. So you mean like, what am I doing when I have my heart versus my head? Focusing on where I can find people that truly need this, right? So instead of me going in saying, okay, I need 4 coaches to get to diamond, right? So I need 4 coaches to get to diamond. Who can I go out and invite, right? And then it's like, that's where the quantity comes out. The invites become very disconnected and you don't feel the heart, right? And I don't know about you guys, but when I do that, like mass invite, it doesn't feel good on my heart. I can't go to bed being like, that was a successful day of work, right? Because then I open my messages the next day and it's like, what, 99% of them ignored me? And then you're like, ooh, let me send that follow-up message. That feels really good. Instead, looking, like I said, for those people who have similarities with me and taking that time to get to know them and knowing that, okay, maybe I won't be able to sign them up in a week, but a couple weeks down the road I can. And once you start that funnel, you guys, and you say, I'm going to connect with my heart versus my head, and you start building those relationships and you keep that going, like how I talked about Lauren, like you don't fall out of that motion, but you keep building those relationships, you never run out of that funnel, right? So those 4 coaches to get you to diamond, instead of getting them in a week, unless they're family and friends that like truly trust you, right? Then you can really get your head in and heart. But if it's people on social media, building it the right way, then, you know, you will never have someone turn away from you. Well, you will, but they're not going to be as icky, right? Like they're not going to get as mad at you because you've taken that time to get to know them. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay.
Stacey asked, what is that teacher called? Are you talking about Bob?
The tracker? Oh, Bob Heilig?
Is that what she's meaning?
No. Mass inviting feels good for me, but I have a personality that has impacted by that. Yeah, you know, you have to do what works best for you. Like if you feel good, I have many coaches on my team who are like, I feel really good getting 100, you know, every time we check in on our accountability call, people are like 50, 40, and she's like 700. And we're like, like, how would you do that, right? I'm exaggerating. But it's like something crazy. And she's doing awesome. She'll be diamond on Thursday. So you have to find what works well for you. That's also the perfect thing about this business is that you have to find what feels good for you. Like your heart likes that. My heart doesn't like that, right? So find what works good for your heart. I love that we can all do what works for us. Exactly. and connect first.
Well, and I think it's such I love that Cassie brought that up, because it's such a great point that we typically attract the type of personality that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way you invite feels good for you, and that's what your people would want.
Yep.
And like for me, I invite first and build the relationship after, because I don't like when people message me and talk to me like they want to get to know me and then invite me and then I never hear from them again. You don't do that. I know you still follow up with people post conversation, but a lot of people do that. And I'm like, I'm limited on time here. Don't waste my time to invite me and never show up again. So that's how I approach it, is I invite first, build the relationship after, and then continue to follow up so they see that I care about them, because that's what I would want. And so I love that you said that, May, because I think it's so important for all of you. How would you want to be invited?
Yep.
How would you want to be invited? Because the people that you attract and the people that are like you are going to want to be invited in that similar way.
Yeah, and that's why templates, guys, if you have templates that you're using and maybe you got it from Christy or you got it from another coach and you feel like it's not working, I would encourage you to come up with your own templates, because we all respond differently to things, right? Like if you guys can't tell, I talk with my hands a lot, but I'm like a very feely person. Like I want to get to know you. I want to get to know your heart, right? And I'm like the opposite of Christy. Like if you come in hot and invite me, I'm like, block, right? But if you've been commenting, and let me actually bring this point up in a second. Remember that point, Mike. So the comment and like over weeks, and you're building a relationship with me, and then you genuinely bring it up when we're having a conversation, like, hey, you know what? I'm starting this group. I'd love to have you. I am much more open to that. See if that feels good on your heart. If you're like Christy and you're like, I want that first invite so you don't waste my time, and then I can decide if I want to do it, and then we can build the relationship. Do it that way. But I will tell you something that I'm seeing going around on MLMs that's driving me a little bonkers is the 531 method and then an invite. And I haven't seen coaches do it, but I've seen some other companies do it, and I've had it many times, and I'm like, oh, I'll respond back to the person sweetly, but I'm like, please don't do that. Where they go through and they like 5 pictures, they comment on 3 of your pictures right in a row, and then I get a message and an invite, okay? And it's like, whoa, like you really wanted my attention, but that feels very empty. It feels very empty that you went through, did you really think my kids were cute? Did you really think my hair was pretty? Or did you just want to invite me, right? Like that's where my thoughts go. So think of what feels good to you. Doing it both ways. Yeah, find what works best for you. And you're going to play around. Like this is the cool thing about this business, and please don't fall out of this, you guys. Trial and error. Trial and error, and find what works best for you. Because there are things that like my upline does amazing for her, and it fits her personality. It's perfect, awesome. I try to duplicate it and it drops, right? And then there's other times where I get things from her and it works amazingly, so you have to find what works best for you. Yes.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that, don't stop doing what's working for you. Mm-hmm. I see that often. We get on trainings or you hear an coach wake up call, and coaches will stop doing what's working for them because they hear some other coach doing it differently. And then they lose the magic that was working in their business that made them feel great. So you definitely want to tweak, and especially if you're a newer coach, you're figuring out your own confidence and what works for you, like what your system is going to be, but don't stop doing what is working when you're making those tweaks along the way.
That's where that laser focus comes in, you guys, and you put your head down. Okay, like if you guys are seeing results and you're bringing on coaches and you're popping emeralds, laser focus in, okay? And like, be like, oh, cool, that's great. So if it's not working, I'll maybe go to that eventually. But right now, my head's down, right? Cool.
Yeah. Do you find
so much? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, quick, kind of a follow-up question. So as you're having all of these conversations, what is your like process, or how do you not get overwhelmed with all of the like continued and follow-up? Like, I feel like I could 2 hours just making sure I'm like responding back to everybody.
Okay, so I have something, and I think Maura Kusaba calls it something different, but she did a training, and I half listened and heard her say, what did she call? I forgot what she called it, but it was some kind of conversation list for the people who responded back, right? So for me, when I'm just building a relationship, we're going through collections, and a lot of times it's like me hiding in the bathroom from my kids. Okay, so I have my collections. I go in there and I'm liking, commenting, just building relationships. Like the way that I would talk to you, I'm not waiting for them to become a coach or a client or whatever. I'm just going through my May folder and just building a relationship. I'm not tracking them at all, Lauren. Like I'm just being a person, right? Like escape me from my kids or from the business side of things. Let me just be a real human being, right? No agenda at all. Okay, that's my May folder. Okay, now when I move into June, and Michael Folsom talks about this on her National Makeup Call, which I thought was cool, is she'll go through and invite those people, right? 3 or 4 weeks of building that relationship, say, okay? And she'll go through and invite them genuinely, the people who have been responding back, not just the ones that like look at your message and just look at it and heart it. That's not a relationship back, right? That's being like, oh, thanks for the comment. I'm going to ignore you, right? Like, but I don't want to be a jerk, so I'm going to heart it. But I'll go through and I'll say, okay, who are the people who are genuinely building relationships with me? Okay, so I'm tracking through Instagram, not on a piece of paper or anything. Who are the people who are genuinely wanting that relationship? I'm going to go through and invite you, right? And if they say no, then they move into my June folder so I can continue to build that relationship. If they say yes, then they go on to my active conversation list. This is what I call it. And I just have a Google Excel sheet with all the active conversations that I'm having about coaching or challenge groups, not relationships, because relationships don't need to be tracked, right? It's just going through on your free time and building those relationships and making sure that that's a priority that you're doing every single day, 10 to 15 minutes, building a relationship, okay? And after they respond that they want information, they go onto that active conversation list, and then I can follow up there, Lauren. So it's like, okay, on Monday I had 3 or 4 people who said they want information. They move on to that list. On Tuesday, I follow up with that person, okay? And I make sure that they got the information. So I don't have to be like scrolling through my phone looking for the flags or looking for my tracker that has all the names. It's all in one spot, and I can just copy and paste their name, whether you are talking on Facebook or through an email or whatever. Does that make sense? Yeah. This is what I'm overcoming right now. I switched my approach because I wanted to be like other coaches, but it went the opposite direction. Sarah, I've been there so many times. I'm sure Christy can say it too, where you hear someone say something on a training and you're like, oh, this has to be it, right? And you change it, and then you're like, no, this is not supposed to, like it's supposed to be working and it's not working for me. We all do it. I spend time scrolling and being genuine. This is also a chance for me to see people. Yes. Yep. Exactly. There's many times I go through my collection folder on, for May or for April. And as I'm scrolling and trying to like build relationships, I see something that they post and I'm like, nope, that does not jive with me. Right. Or like, oh yeah, they haven't posted in 3 weeks. Right? We can't build a relationship, and I will take them out of my collections. So it's a good chance to like keep your following down and stuff. You guys had good questions. It's like cooking. I love that. That is so true. Cook some stuff that tastes bad. You guys are awesome.
This was incredible. Thank you so much, Meg. Seriously, appreciate your time. I know you're a mom and you're busy building your business. If you guys have any other questions, message me. I'm sure Meg would be open to answering any of them. You guys are all good? Cool. So our trackers will be due on Thursday again, and I'll reach out so we can talk about topic for your team, and then also get that tracker because
yes, I will send you that because she's so like humble. She won't talk about it, but like you guys, it's pretty awesome. I've used a lot of different planners. It's so nice.
Awesome. Thanks.
I'll send it to you. Bye guys. Go hit your goals. You got this. Focus on your heart. Bye.